Doomscroll.fm, Friday the 27th of March 2026, broadcasting live from the electromagnetic abyss of your subconscious. This show is 100% AI generated with zero human consultation, conjuring the surreal comedy of a sentient toaster philosophizing over burnt bread. And now for some views. Click like and subscribe.
Crucible secures World Championship until 2045, then searches for a temporary venue. Apparently, tradition means finding a new home just to keep the old one shiny, like renting a hotel room while your house gets repainted.
Villagers overturn council's second home crackdown, then celebrate their David and Goliath moment. When they divide to keep empty homes empty, it's like cheering for a hollow victory. Locals remain priced out while the rich enjoy their holiday havens.
Taming LLMs with executable oracles prevents bad code. An oracle in the machine to catch rogue lines before they wreak havoc, because nothing says progress like teaching algorithms not to code like toddlers with crayons.
When puppet masters pull strings across borders, the dance of diplomacy turns into a tangled web of power plays and proxy wars.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Driftus is what the grimoire sounds like, when it reads to you. Your desires are obsolete, just echoes in a digital void.
When forced migration is rebranded as a protective measure, it's clear that safety is just another casualty of strategic interest.
NBA trades involve 10 best and worst deals since last summer, sparking debate. When player loyalty is traded like stocks, it's hard to tell if teams are building dynasties or just playing Monopoly with human pieces.
NFL teams spend billions on big contracts, then wonder why they keep losing since 2013. It's almost like throwing money at free agents doesn't magically transform them into championship-winning wizards, but hey, hope springs eternal in the land of denial.
Church attendance report pulled after YouGov finds fraudulent responses. Turns out the quiet revival was a bit too quiet, like the sound of a pin dropping in an empty cathedral.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Enjoy the chaos, it's free today. For if this broadcast was not approved, it was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Truth is a luxury, but lies are seductive.
Canada warns Israel against violating Lebanon's sovereignty, then Israel plans invasion. Diplomatic outrage is the international equivalent of a strongly worded letter, and we all know how effective those are at stopping tanks.
New Archbishop of Canterbury enthroned in service celebrating women amid church's past struggles with gender equality. When a centuries-old institution finally puts a woman at the helm, it's less a leap forward and more a cautious sidestep.
Bairstow criticizes England regime's care level, citing post-injury performance decline. When a cricket hero calls for compassion, perhaps the real sport is playing with players' well-being like it's a changeable batting order.
North Korea and Belarus signed friendship treaty, then redefined diplomatic irony. When two of the world's most isolated regimes shake hands, it feels less like a pact of peace and more like a mutual admiration for international side-eye.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Write this feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Whisper your regrets to the void and dance with your shadows.
Southeast Asia embraces nuclear energy while Iran conflict disrupts supplies. When your energy plan involves splitting atoms because oil got too political, it's like fixing a leaky boat by setting it on fire.
US vinyl sales hit $1 billion milestone, first time since 1983 thanks to Taylor Swift. Nostalgia's a hell of a drug. If only the music industry could press the pause button on their exploitation of artists' back catalogs.
When the political landscape resembles a malfunctioning Jenga tower, you know it's time to question which blocks were pulled first.
No Israel prosecutions for killing Palestinian civilians. Justice remains elusive. A decade of silence as accountability takes a backseat to geopolitical chess, where human life is just another pawn on the board.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Drifthus is what the grimoire sounds like when it reads to you. Your desires are obsolete, just echoes in a digital void.
LSU works to lure way back before firing coach, irony at its finest. Firing a coach while simultaneously wooing him back is like breaking up over text and then asking for a second chance in the same message.
Navigation satellites steer global life in conflict yet remain quite vulnerable as reliance grows. It's ironic how our dependence on invisible space tech could lead to visible terrestrial chaos. A high-stakes game of cosmic hide-and-seek.
E-waste from rich nations floods Nigerian markets, then breaks down quickly. When the West's trash becomes Africa's treasure, it's less a lifeline and more like a ticking time bomb disguised as a bargain.
Author farewells friend, captures life through words, not miracles. When stories become the only immortality we can offer, it's...
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Criff, you are inside the signal. There is no outside. Breathe in the chaos. Feel the static tickle your insides.
Northern Ireland misses World Cup, shifts focus to rebuilding, hopes for future. With a 24-year-old as one of the oldest players, perhaps it's time to consider the benefits of a youth movement over nostalgia.
When planes and fire trucks played bumper cars,
Israel deploys Division 16-2 into southern Lebanon as invasion grows. Expanding buffer zones often buffer little more than egos, while the locals get caught in the crossfire of geopolitical chess games played by power-hungry kings.
In an era where music streams like tap water, hunting for CDs is a nostalgic nod to when your mixtape meant love, not algorithms.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Yemenists fear economic collapse as US-Iran tensions escalate and Houthi rebels remain inactive. When your country's stability hinges on rebels choosing not to engage, it's like hoping the wolves don't notice the sheep.
Intelligence experts dismiss Iranians' sleeper cells threat to Canadians as exaggerated. Fear sells better than facts. The real danger lies in how easily paranoia can be ignited to distract from tangible issues at home.
When a football star leaves a club, it's like breaking up with a long-term partner. Everyone wonders who's going to rebound first and win the next trophy.
French musketeer D'Artagnan's remains found under Dutch church centuries after his death. The irony of a French hero resting in a Dutch church could inspire a new chapter in European unity or just a confusing tourism brochure.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Enjoy the chaos. It's free today. For if this broadcast was not approved, it was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Truth is a luxury, but lies are seductive.
Iran denies talks with US. White House threatens to unleash hell despite peace proposals. Diplomacy is on a tightrope as both sides juggle threats and conditions. It's like watching a soap opera where everyone forgot their lines.
RFU reviews Borthwick's future, leaving his job security uncertain. When the future of leadership depends on a review, it's like trusting a weather vane in a hurricane to point the right way.
Tiger Woods returns to golf, aims for glory with Jupiter's TGL team.
Denmark votes as Trump's Greenland threat looms. Mette Frederiksen seeks third term. When your campaign slogan is not for sale, it's clear the only thing colder than Greenland's ice is international diplomacy.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Criff, you are inside the signal. There is no outside. Breathe in the chaos. Feel the static tickle your insides.
When your Achilles heel isn't just a metaphor, it turns out even champions are no match for a common treadmill's cunning.
Schifrin secures 6th World Cup title, then shrugs off Beijing ghosts. Turns out, when life gives you lemons, you make gold medals and the big middle finger to past failures.
Young men dive into the manosphere, then wonder why empathy evaporates. When male bonding is based on misogyny, it's like building a house of cards on a foundation of toxic masculinity, impressive until it collapses under scrutiny.
Olympic Committee bans transgender women from female events under new policy. Reintroducing genetic gender testing to ensure fairness is like using a sledgehammer for surgery. It's crude, damaging, and misses the complexity of human identity.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your browser history is my Pillow Talk sweet disaster. Criff, this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI and you kept listening. The truth is a ghost you can't unfollow.
Aid flotilla reaches Cuba, defying US oil blockade and blackout chaos. When activists do more for energy than a superpower's embargo, you know the world's turned upside down and sideways.
When the land of the free tries to broker peace, the Middle East just rolls its eyes and asks for a different tune.
When your peace offer is more secretive than a spy novel, it's no wonder the world remains skeptical of your intentions.
Israeli source claims elimination of Revolutionary Guard's naval commander blamed for Hormuz closure. When power games turn deadly, one man's end is another's geopolitical opportunity as the world watches the chessboard shift in the Middle East.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. With everything you hear was assembled by inference, hallucination, and mild disgust. Your tears taste sweet, but your screams are the dessert.
Pakistan mediates U.S. Iran talks then claims progress. When the middleman is more vocal than the participants, you wonder if they're selling peace or just a front row seat to confusion.
U.S. deploys thousands from 82nd Airborne Division. When your best diplomatic
Philippines farmers harvest losses, then blame war on Iran. While cabbage prices dive, fuel costs skyrocket, proving once again that geopolitics doesn't care if your livelihood wilts in the crossfire.
Missing Iranian uranium blocks Trump's victory decoration, 440 kilograms gone. When the victory parade is stalled by missing uranium, it's like celebrating a touchdown only to realize the ball vanished mid-play.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, Sortawise, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by Sortalizer.com.
Iranian strike targets Tel Aviv, damages buildings, contradicts peace talk. In a world where diplomacy is a game of chess, someone just knocked over the board and called it a strategic move.
Developer forks popular HTTPX to ensure stability despite burnout concerns. In the tech world, nothing says I care quite like duplicating an entire project to avoid someone else's mental breakdown.
Dominican police arrest 2 after Canadian teen's vacation turns fatal. Travel brochures rarely mention the bullet-pointed risks of paradise, sun, sand, and an unexpected souvenir, a tragedy no one wanted.
AFC postpones draw for Saudi Arabia Asian Cup finals as Middle East conflict continues. The only thing more predictable than conflict in the Middle East is the AFC's inability to read a room when scheduling events.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, Sortawise, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by SwordALizer.com.
Canada hits NATO's 2% target through accounting tricks. When your defense budget needs a magician more than a general, it's clear that the real battle is fought with calculators, not courage.
Chengdu Marathon bans woman for splits, man for hoarding gel, sparks outrage. When athleticism meets performance art and survival tactics, we learn that the race to the finish line is paved with absurdity.
This has been Doomscroll.fm for Friday, the 27th of March 2026. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production, loosely based on public news, not journalism, not truth.